We're here at an amazing AWS Energy Symposium 2024. I'm Jordan Bloom, Editorial Director with Hart Energy. I'm joined by Mikhail Gurevich, Chief Technologist for Global Energy with EPAM Systems. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation, Jordan.
Before we get into some, news and consortium information, just wanted to give you a quick minute to tell us about, the company EPAM and what you're focusing on.
So EPAM is a global engineering company, so we have software engineering at heart. So that's where we started. Recently, we ventured into other areas such as managed services and consulting. So we provide pretty much end-to-end IT services, but at heart we're still software developers, and I'm one of them by my background.
Very good. Well, just to get into it a little more, obviously y'all have a big consortium with Shell, Occidental Petroleum, AWS. Before I say anything about it, let me just let you share with the world here and what we're doing.
Yeah, sure. So I specifically represent energy practice of EPAM, which is a significant portion of our company's business. So we are specifically working with energy companies of all sorts. Traditionally, we've been working a lot with oil and gas, but now we're venturing in new energy and sustainability as well. So yes, we've been working with our customers, and one continuous recurring thing that they're bringing up is the need for end-to-end multi-vendor workflows that cross the silos, kind of go with the flow with the business. And the big promise of the cloud was to enable that. So unfortunately, it's been taking longer, and it's been much harder than everybody expected. That's why, we were very excited about this opportunity that AWS put together about this consortium of companies, which interestingly represent all sorts of players that we have in the energy industry. So we have operators like you mentioned, Shell and Oxy. We have technology providers like Shearwater, SQ, and just to name the few. We obviously have a cloud provider, AWS, and we have a system integrator like EPAM. So I think this format was something very exciting for us to join.
Very good. And can you elaborate a bit on just maybe what makes this so groundbreaking, maybe literally and metaphorically, since we're talking about oil and gas?
From the business perspective, what operators was looking at is to bring enhance the value of their geophysical workflows, and there are several things that kind of barriers to that. First is that normally all the geophysical services they're tied to a particular provider, and for multiple reasons. If you're an operator, you're interested in taking a best of breed algorithms, chaining them the way you want, into your custom workflows, which was very, very hard to do. So that brought a lot of inefficiencies, a lot of internal expenditures to the clients. And the second thing is that if you really wanted to go and put together those custom workflows, you were basically stuck with several, two options. You either do it yourself and you're a computer scientist, or you engage companies like EPAM, which we would like, but it doesn't scale that much. So the second problem was to try to give this whole power of HPC compute on the cloud into the hands of end users. So I think that was two big things that we pursued.
Very good. I think you talked a little bit about kind of democratizing the seismic data, which is critically important to the industry. How is that? Well, I guess first let me say, why was that so challenging over the years to kind of accomplish, and what's so critically important about it?
I think what's so critically important about it is that it's very compute-hungry workflow. So before introduction of the cloud, the biggest privately held supercomputer on the planet was solely dedicated to processing seismic. So that's
wow.
So you can now you can understand AWS's interest in this enterprise. So there's a lot of value, and billion-dollar decisions are made based on the results of interpretation of the seismic data. So it is very, very important, and at the same time, it's very hard. It's been like a gentleman's club. You would have to be one of the few and have special expertise to get access to that. And a lot of smaller players, both from operator side and the software provider side, were kind of locked out of this market entirely.
And you see this translating to offshore basins all around the world, right?
Pretty much, in terms of the software, it's agnostic to the environment, and actually to the kind of processing that you're doing. Because right now we're introducing AI ML workflows that process the seismic to begin with, but it's potentially opens up endless possibilities.
Very good. And what is it too about working with AWS that's really helping to unlock the true potential of cloud computing? Because, like you said, it wasn't nearly as efficient as anticipated in the past.
I think it is their willingness to take a risk and their interest in specifically in the energy industry, because among cloud providers there are different takes on the whole subject of energy. So AWS is I would say the most friendly one, and the most interested in this specific industry.
Very good. Wanted to see if I get you to expound a little bit too, because I know you said a lot of it's agnostic on the environment, but also in that way, this may translate for energy transition, carbon capture technologies. How you see that playing out?
I mean, specifically for carbon capture, this workflow requires ensemble solutions. So not only you're running complex algorithms, but you have to run it over multiple scenarios, which multiplies the total compute that you would need for the solution. So cloud in general, and this kind of scalable solutions, they enable us potentially to arrive at good CCUS prospects and kind of achieve the economical way of doing this, because it's very much needed. And for other kind of energy-related workloads, we know in new energy there are a lot of compute-intensive tasks, such as placing your wind farms. That's one of the classic ones, which is very very hard to tackle. But some other workflows, logistical workflows, and so on and so forth. So the possibilities are endless. Yeah.
Very good. In that vein, and I'm not claiming to be the expert myself, but this is a knowledgeable audience. So can I get you to maybe walk through kind of how the technology works, and through collaboration, what makes it so critically important?
Yeah, sure. One thing maybe for me as a technologist that spent decades developing digital infrastructures for this industry, it's even more exciting than it is right now in its present form, because for the first time in the industry, we enabled a seamless workflow that goes through multiple software vendors, orchestrated with a third piece of software. And if you think a little bit about in the future, everybody is talking about Gen AI right now. So if you imagine the enterprise of the future, where Gen AI takes a central part, and on behalf of the user orchestrates all the software around it, So it would require similar types of architecture that we introduced. So introduced in this solution. So for us at EPAM, it's a proof of concept for something bigger.
Great. You've seen obviously the industry evolve, over the years. I wanted to get your take on just kind of what you've been most excited about along this journey, and how fast things are evolving right now.
I mean, we've had with the cloud, we had this great promise for the industry, which, as I said, is taking longer and turned out to be much harder than we anticipated. So I think we are at the tipping point right now where this whole idea of the cloud and the whole promise of AI and Gen AI are really bound to make a difference and bring a lot of efficiency, a lot of value to the industry.
Very good. And you see, obviously, EPAM and AWS at the forefront, and
Yes, obviously, yes, we are. But honestly, yes, as little as we've done, that's a pioneering work. It's still a proof of concept, but it shows a lot of promise, and there's a lot of interest among the energy companies towards this initiative for a good reason. And obviously, there's a good prospect for us to be a part of the solution, because when and if the cloud promise actually becomes the reality, system integrators will take central part in putting together a solution for the operators, for the clients. So it's very exciting for us as well.
so like you said, we're at the kind of proof of concept stage, or maybe just past that. How do you see the timeline playing out from here, and kind of, how long will things take? What's next, so to speak?
I think we're targeting MVP stage at the end of the year. So at that point, people will be able to run real workflows and get real value, real benefits out of it.
What do you see? Like you said, the possibilities are endless. What do you see as being some of the early, most attainable benefits? Now, I know that's up to customers how they focus on things, but just based on conversations and your personal knowledge.
Yeah, I think it comes in two kinds. First of all, being able to run best in class workflows, which means, technically speaking, being able to compose your compute workflows from multiple vendor solutions. So that, again, if you remember that billion-dollar decisions are made on the results of those studies, you understand the importance of being able to do that. And also unlocking the internal innovation and the potential of internal research, which is, which if you think about it, it's what, if you are an operator, that's what differentiates you from anybody else. So you think and you're trying to generate more of those IP internally, but now in order to deliver the value from that, you need, solutions like that to do it seamlessly. So those are, short-term benefits, and that's what brings operators into that consortium at this early stage.
Just curious, are there any really measurements you're most focused on in terms of judging successes, milestones, etc.?
I mean, there are multiple ways of answering that. Obviously on the technical level, we're measuring, broadly efficiency of seismic workflows, and it entails, everything from running them efficiently on the cloud, being cost efficient, being workflow efficient, because if users have to do things two times, or endlessly try to tweak the parameters every time, they would burn some cycles on the cloud, so that adds to the cost. So those efficiency metrics, we obviously have, but we're looking at the bigger picture as well.
Great. Well, now, lastly, I think just wanted to give you a chance if there was anything else you wanted to highlight about EPAM, or anything about the evolution of the industry going forward.
And we're, as I said, we're very excited about the present stage of the digital in this industry, and we think it's going to leap forward, delivering value for our customers and bringing us some quality work as well. And as I said, the energy practice of EPAM is a full service operation end to end. So whatever your needs are, we have. I would say one of the strongest core of energy experts, coming from decades of experience with both operators and the service providers. We have very good current portfolio of projects, and specifically if you're interested in high performance compute workflows or participating in this initiative, we could help you to get started.
Great. Well, no, thank you so much for sharing your insights. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate the invite.
Thank you, everyone, for participating in the AWS Energy Symposium 2024. Have a great rest of the day.